supplies, food. You're missing time, which you don't get back with loved ones, your job, all these different things. You own businesses. This is a huge expense on you, and it also, why?
So when you go and you get, a drink with an umbrella in it, and you lay out on the beach, and you do it for a week, and you get, all this service, you come back, and you're like, life sucks.
Down. And so you're reversing the process.
I reversed the process.
Okay.
Yeah, I come back after being rained on for 10 days straight, trying to avoid trench foot, hypothermia, which happened. It was intense this time around. I do all of that, and then literally I get to my car, and I turn on the air conditioning. It's like, thank God for air conditioning.
So you
thank God for cushioned seats. Thank God for beds. Yeah. Literally everything that surrounds your whole life that you take for granted becomes, it changes your perspective on it all. And you come back to everything, and it seems like it's a lot lighter to handle life's work that it has when you go out there. And there's another saying that struck me too. Carl Jung talks about that a tree only grows its highest height from its deepest roots. And so if you want to take height and below, and you talk about foundation and darkness and light. For me, digging deep into your darkness, into your pit, and uncovering everything about who you are as an individual and shining light on that, I think is one of the most powerful things you can do to yourself. It goes all the way back to the Egyptians saying, "Know thyself." Everyone from then on forward has made that case about how important it is to know yourself and who you are. And I think part of that is understanding your darkest depths and your highest heights.
What are you finding in that darkness, though? Because you're probably not expecting what you're finding, right? What are you getting from it?
Wow. For me, there's a piece to it that I look at called the Four Corners, and it's cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's around this idea of walking the block of perspectives in life, of what's the story that you're telling yourself, what's the story that you desire, what's the opposite of that story, and what's the other person's story in that situation.
What's the opposite of the story?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's like a game, right? If you're telling yourself a story about yourself and how you feel and why these circumstances exist, say the opposite of that. What does that look like? Is there anything that you can glean from that? You got to walk all four corners to get all the perspectives, and that's one of the corners. Okay. That's one of the places that you want to look into when you're trying to gain insight
of that situation.
Yeah, whatever the situation is. Yeah.
So other than the Appalachian Trail, what hiking do you do in Delaware?
So for Delaware, I really like Brandywine Creek State Park.
Okay.
It's probably one of the only places that really has, I'll call hills. We got Mount Cuba, up a little bit further. But
I didn't find out about Mount Cuba until 3 years ago. I didn't even know we had technically a mountain.
Yeah. It's our one, lone mountain that we have to stand on.
Yeah.
So
kind of.
But yeah, I like hiking Brandywine Creek State Park.
Okay.
It's really nice there. There's lots of options and paths and places that you can go out there, and frankly, in the fall, it's really beautiful. All the foliage out there. It's quite a place to be.
Where do you get your rucks in though? Are you just rolling down Route 1 Goggin style, or are you
So the rucks were organized events that I participated in with some intent.
And can we go over? You won humongous race, right?
Well, I placed pretty high in it. Yeah. So it was this ruck. This ruck was last year. I got
the Green Beret.
Yeah, Green Beret project in Dover.
Love that.
It's a great project. The focus around the Green Beret project is to take inner city kids and teach them military discipline as a foundational route for, carrying out their lives. Yeah. So the organization has fundraisers that they do every year, and one of the big ones that they started, this was the second year they did it was last year.
Okay.
So this year was the third one, and they make a whole course. The course the first year was treacherous. It was nobody had good things to say about it because it was so hard to do because it was pretty much from Wilmington to Dover going down Route 13. And the way they set it up is you do it at night because you don't want to be in the sun.
Are you guys like going down like the shoulder?
Yeah.
On Route 13?
Yeah. At night.
That doesn't sound safe.
No, it wasn't. So
It doesn't sound safe at all.
The next year they changed it. They did from Eden Square.
Where's that?
Medical Center.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Or Eden Medical.
Eden Hill?
Eden Hill, yes.
Yeah.
They started there, and we had police escort out of Dover. It started around 4 p.m., and then that went all the way down to Dewey Beach.
Okay. What route?
From Dover to Dewey, and it went through some neighborhoods, went through some other...
Got it.
Yeah, a little bit of highway.
More of a fun rut, right? Because you're seeing new things you've never laid eyes on in Delaware.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
Because how long is it?
So the first one I did, it took me 17 hours.
Jeez.
So we started at 4 p.m. and I finished at 9 a.m. Yeah.
How many miles?
52 and a half.
52.2. It's the 0.2 that really kicks you in the ass. It's that last 0.2. No, the last 0.2, I'm sure, is bliss, right?
They didn't do the 0.2 this year. It was just the 52 this year. But the last piece, they told us that we were at this one destination,
right.
And then they had to alter the course, and we had to walk all the way down to this other spot. So everybody that came in, all your expectation, again, self-talk, right?
Yeah.
You're coming in on the last bit of 52 miles. You see the destination where the guy's flagging you in, and then I'm almost done. I'm there. All these things you're telling yourself, and you walk up to the guy, and he goes, "We had to adjust the course. You're going to have to see this picture of this sign. You're going to have to walk down there until you see the sign." And you're thinking in your head, I don't even know when I'm going to see this sign. So now you're walking you had all your thoughts set around I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
That's the
and
worst.
they're like, you're not done. And so I had to, walk down this other. So at that point too, it was at least I knew about that, right? But, coming in and then finding out, it's like, nope, you got to walk more. And this year I finished 2 hours earlier than I did the year before.
So 15 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And last year I placed second place. This year
Hell
I
yeah.
placed 13th.
That's still insane.
Isn't that no, it's awesome. Like I beat my own time. That's all I'm out there competing for is
people
me.
People are getting better.
But people are getting better.
How much weight is in the rucksack?
You can do any weight that you want to. I did 15 pounds.
Does that get factored into the rankings?
No, it doesn't. I think they're just trying to figure this out and let people go out. And
I feel like that should be factored in. If some dude's rocking 80 pounds,
it should be.
Someone's rocking 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Like,
or the fact that I escorted a drunk guy straggling down the highway at 3 in the morning.
Definitely get bonus points for that.
I walked with him for 6 miles. Walked him back into Dewey. Yeah.
Back into Dewey.
You know what was crazy?
Wait, did
I was
he walk
walking
6 miles away from Dewey?
I can't figure it out. I don't know what the details are
This mystery,
exactly. But
man.
I'm walking up the coastal highway from Bethany.
Okay.
It's
with
like-
a rucksack on.
with a rucksack.
Is there anyone else around you? Do you like partner up with people?
So I had a partner that went with me.
Okay.
And we were doing it. We did the first 30 plus miles together, maybe 32 miles together. And we gapped everybody. So we were walking by ourselves. Yeah, gapped them in terms of like
Just caught up to them, passed
we were way up in the front.
Got it.
Nope, we had nobody close to us. And we were like that for hours. And then we got about 32 miles in, and we were alternating between jogging, shuffling, and just like a nice pace.
A little power walk.
And, about 32 miles in, he looks over at me. He goes, "I think I can run the rest of this in." And he took off. And he finished 2 hours before I did, and he got first.
Whoa.
Yeah. So right after he left, though.
Ran it in.
Yeah.
After how many miles? 50?
The whole thing was 52. We were 32, 33 miles in, and then he was like,
So you just decided to take on a quick
I'm gonna
marathon? All right, that's fine. All right, whatever.
he did it. He
did?
And he got
Jeez.
first. And you know what's
What's his
crazy?
name? Do you know?
Matt Mayer.
Matt Mayer.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Matt.
The year before, he recognized me, and he had to quit around mile 20. So he went from quitting mile 20 from injury to getting first and running it in.
He got his Goggins
Super
moment.
cool.
He got his next opportunity, so
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and run this one in.
Yeah.
That's
he
awesome.
did.
So, but in between there, you met the drunk person.
Yeah. So he takes off. I thought to myself, did my partner run past this guy? But no. I think what happened was he was in a car, got dropped off the car on the highway. Maybe. I don't know. I don't have all those details from him. But he was
In your 6 mile quest back in the Dewey.
yeah,
Did you get that info?
so he's walking towards Bethany, and I just finished walking the coastal highway from Bethany to 6 miles just south of Dewey, and I walk into him and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" And he says, "I'm walking to Dewey." And I said, "I can guarantee you're going the wrong direction." And he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "I've been rucking for 30 plus miles." And I said, and I'm very with it right now.
Talk about two different lifestyle choices meeting each other.
You know what's funny? He's in technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was down there for the Memorial Day weekend celebrating. Same age as me and retired. So when you talk about self-reflection and talk, and I'm escorting this guy that's inebriated back to Dewey, and we're both in technology. You know, I'm not retired, you know. But you know, I had to think to myself, I'm like, I'm out here doing this ruck, and I'm not, you know, drinking, doing this stuff, carrying on. And this guy, he's retired. Does he have what I want, or do I have what he wants? You know, kind of like a little mirror thing going on coming into it. So, gave me a lot to think about. And I'll tell you that the result I came to is I'm very happy with where I am and who I am. So, and he made it back safe. And we kept in touch, and he became a good technology contact. Yeah,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Similar, like when you say technology, that's super broad. Like, you guys do similar things?
No, he developed some software. I'll leave it at this. He developed some software that manages passwords. Okay. It's an internet, like massive company. Massive company. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you specifically, we haven't gotten into. What do you do?
So for the most part, internet marketing, that's where I really cut my teeth.
SEO.
Yeah, SEO. Which really at the end of the day is a lot about what you guys do. It's content creation. It's about creating value in people's lives and answering people's questions and you know, providing you know, what people are looking for when they're searching on the internet, depending on who the products or services are that we're representing. At the end of the day, I like to say that we're really, unfortunately, glorified book report writers. You know, the internet, most people read at a 6th grade reading level. A lot of people are moving really quick. They just want to get an answer. They want some good info. But if they want to dig deeper, they also want to be able to read through the content and be able to find easily what they're looking for. And stuff.
Absolutely. And obviously Google's nailed that. When you say SEO, we're talking search engine optimization.
Correct.
Get the site to the top of the page. Get the right audience in front of the link. Calls to action, sublinks, Google business profiles, all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we deal in that daily. So it's so huge. Now, when you analyze what has been SEO and what is SEO and what is to come with the internet, you know, AI's huge right now. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Just with technology as a whole, do you see a world where you're making huge pivots in internet marketing in the coming years?
To a degree. I think what we're talking about here is, you know, we could be talking about the evolution of technology, but what we're really talking about is lifting the veil on authenticity and people being authentic. You know, when you talk about the early days of SEO and ranking on Google with your website, a lot of it was based off of trickery and just trying to hack how Google perceived websites and things like that, right? So, you know, they called it keyword stuffing back in the day, but essentially if there was like a keyword that you wanted to show up for, like real estate, you'd take a white background and you'd take a white font and you'd jam it with like, you know, 5,000 times with the word, you know, real estate, and the human eye wouldn't see it, but the bots would pick it up.
Correct.
Well, over time, the bots have now, you know, gotten a little bit more savvy to all the little tricks that people play.
Super sophisticated.
And now it's this cat and mouse game that keeps going back and forth. But I think the end result is that in order for Google to create value, they have to provide real information that people are going to be able to use. And so the tools that they keep using keep forcing people to stop trying to trick Google and to just be authentic, to be real and to offer value to people. So I think that, you know, there's going to be things that happen. Like, so for instance, AI, you know, in the early stages of AI, it has a really, and this database that we're talking about is very questionable. I don't know how you would say they get the rights to be able to scrape Twitter/X or any of these other resources that they're going and just taking all this data from and synthesizing. But right now, all this data has been built on human information from humans that we've gleaned. And what's happening is AI is starting to iterate on itself and it's becoming dumber.
What do you mean by, like, it's starting to use its own information now?
Correct. So as AI proliferates its own information, it cannibalizes itself.
Oh, so as it's producing blogs that go online that then track and trend on SEO metrics for something, now when it goes to search for it to make a blog for somebody else, it could use its own blog.
Yeah. Yeah, and
that's a simple version of course.
Yeah, and the information starts to break down over time. The information becomes faulty.
Like who's who?
Yeah. Have you ever taken like an AI generator for images to like make you look old, and then like take the image of you like when you're 90, and then use it again, and then use it again, and then use it again? All of a sudden, you start to look like a bowl of soup. You know. Okay. So now let's do that with words. You know, so what's happening is over time, the bot is cannibalizing and simplifying itself and providing bad intel. And so when you talk about, again, you know, this idea technology's evolving, and we're talking about people trying to trick stuff, and we talk about authenticity. What I see happening is it's the same thing that we're using with the platforms and the tools now: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these other things. It's about having a symbiotic relationship with the tool and using it to augment or amplify what is already known to be true.
But do we have control over that? Because here's my fear. When I think of AI, is I love your perspective, because your first words out of your mouth were authenticity. When I think of AI, the last thing I think of is authenticity.
Yeah.
Because I think of deep fake videos. I can use Adobe Firefly to make a dragon fly in our pictures now. Like, we can do a slew of different things, just text, like ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So I don't think authenticity, but I see your point where Google has to create a world where authenticity exists. Otherwise, they'll find a different platform to use. Like, for instance, I use TikTok a lot for their SEO when we're traveling somewhere and we want to find that restaurant or the hole in the wall or what's the fun date spot, or, you know, what are the fun things to do in X. There's so many different people doing it. And I don't think Google offers as much boots on the ground SEO.
Yeah.
So what happens, because to follow back with what you just said, AI is starting to create upon itself, use its own creations as examples for new creations it's making, thus making it dumber.
Yes.
What happens when the initial AI is better than us? And then when it's cannibalizing itself, it's because I imagine what happens in the movies. Because when you think of AI starts cannibalizing itself, it gets stronger each time because it's already better than us.
Right.
So what happens when the AI is already better than us, and then it starts stacking on itself? And it's getting smarter and better and quicker and more efficient.
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's what I think too. And am I thinking too iRobot?
I don't, you know, I mean, well,
to Skynet, like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know, I mean, Elon's probably like our biggest, person who has like the most intel around it. He seems, you know, legitimately concerned about it.
Did you see the guy? Geez, I feel like the Rogan podcast asking if you could pull it up, but don't. There was I don't remember his name, but he's the AI Godfather. Was on the project for Google's AI.
Yeah, and he said it was sentient, and then was like,
I'm out. It was conscious.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm quit. And he did.
Yeah.
And he left. That's terrifying.
Well, you know,
Google hasn't really put out a strong AI product yet.
Yeah.
They really, the fact
Bard is weak in my opinion.
ChatGPT is AOL Messenger.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. Like, this is the very beginning of a process. This is so early. Google's gonna bring a front runner. Apple's gonna bring a front runner. Like, imagine when Google Voice can partner with a power like OpenAI.
Yeah.
Mess with your calendar for you. Hey, what's the next 30-minute gap I have? Can you get Cynthia on the line so we can see about getting a reservation at X restaurant? Are they open?
Yeah.
It does all of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is already in play. I think it's not. Well, I think it really is already in play. Not even like getting there. It is there. I just don't think it's ready for a retail market yet. I don't think it's ready for the consumer.
True. Very true.
This stuff is very much going on already, and even some of the more concerning things I would say that you're talking about, for sure. You know, using AI in ways to trick people at a big level. I think there's little stuff of that peppered in throughout all. How could you not at this point, right?
Then we could just make AI videos. And we don't have to even be in the content. We can just ask it to watch our old videos and say, "Hey, make a new video with this script."
There's already software out
but
there for it.
It's not good though.
Yeah,
it's not
fair enough.
It's not good.
Fair enough.
It's like everything is, and it's like AOL Messenger stage. Like,
yeah.
It's gonna keep getting crazier though.
Yeah.
How does that affect micro markets, like for say a state like Delaware? My opinion. I have my opinion, but like, what is the world of technology and more people working from home and more people leaning toward homeschooled and public school and other educational options, other income options? What do you think that leans toward in the next 10 years for a Delaware economically?
Wow. I mean, AI is so epic in the way that it's going to impact things that it's really tough to say how it's literally going to change the face of everything, Zach. I mean, if you think about it, let me just pose a couple things. I don't know if you've ever thought about these ideas, but like,
please,
do you need a dietitian, right? Well, you could go onto ChatGPT and you could set the parameters to say, you need to be a dietitian with 20 years of experience in FODMAP diets, South Beach diet, whatever what have you.
Feed it a bunch of URLs for study all of these, for me.
And then now you've cultivated this system that you can ask questions to. Well, this can be your accountant, this can be your lawyer, this can be your psychiatrist, your therapist.
Didn't in May passes the bar now, like
and it's also passed like Wharton School of Business, qualifying tests. ChatGPT could go to Wharton Business School if it wanted to. It can write award-winning scripts. So, a lot of the service-based industries are, going to be
the writer's strike going on.
Yeah, it's going to be commoditized. It's going to be commoditized. Well, everything is this race towards commoditizing over time.
But what happens when? Because everyone wants systems at a micro level.
Mm-hmm.
Royal Farms wants to figure out how to have as few employees as possible for their own personal P&Ls, right?
Yeah.
At scale, though, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because Walmart's trying to do that. Texas Roadhouse wants to do that.
Yeah.
Nike wants, everybody wants to do that. And what happens when everybody does close those loops? And it seems like AI is going to really aid in closing those loops.
It is, yeah. And I think that there's a guy named Buckminster Fuller.
What a name.
Yeah. He's
Buckminster Fuller?
Yeah. And he's got this quote about basically
change.
If you want to look up the quote too, there's another fun word.
I'm going to look up his name.
Specious notion. So he starts this quote off with the specious notion that we as humans have.
What does that mean? I'm dumb. You're talking like that utopian we're not needed anymore.
Yeah.
Society, I can't even wrap my brain around that.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
And it's really not something that any of us in the room, all, being, I would say, sub 45, sub 50.
Yeah.
It isn't possible to see in our lifetime.
Yeah. Well, it is,
I should say, it could be possible.
Yeah.
To see in our lifetime.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, I think everything is speeding up on us. When you talk about like the effect of war when the Gutenberg press came out, and then you look at like when the internet came out and how everything's happening more often all the time.
I just saw a graphic for it. It was like the technology going from a flip phone to a touch screen was like, oh, okay, it took 15 years. And then touchscreen to tablet was like, okay, it took about 7 years. And I was like, and then this, and then everything just keeps getting choppier and choppier down. Like, okay, AI's here, boom, 6 months, most downloaded and used site, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's just like moving so fast.
To me, one thing I did want to add with AI, to me, it seems like it's almost like being bilingual, right? Like if you're going to go get a job as like a translator in a court, if you're bilingual, you have a little bit higher value, right?
Understanding how to talk to the AI is what you're saying.
So if you're going to get any job, it's like if you're going to be a paralegal, okay, well you qualify to be a paralegal, but are you a paralegal that can work with AI? That's the key differentiator. It's like, do you speak a secondary language, right? Your secondary language is AI.
So when we lie and say that we're proficient in Excel, we'll have to say like we're efficient in ChatGPT or proficient or something.
Yeah, it's going to be another proficiency that's added on, another line item to qualify you for a job or to separate you from.
Well, the prompting is the battle.
Yeah.
And I've had a few conversations around it, not a ton. But some of the conversations are like, oh, gave me cruddy answers. I'm like, you probably gave it a cruddy prompt.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's 100% what it's all about.
Because you can now feed it, it's like up to 50,000 characters.
Yeah.
It's like a 200-page book.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I could be very off, but I think that's a very large piece of reading that it can just dissect for you.
Now think about this. There are people that are creating repositories of prompts. Yeah, collections.
Oh, yeah, we are. We have like 12 different prompts.
So you start just collecting.
The shortcuts on my phone.
Yeah.
I'll make a shortcut on my phone. Yeah. It'll be like YT script. And when I type it in, it'll be my mega prompt of, hey, you're a seasoned CMO in content creation for long form, specifically targeting YouTube. We're doing this. Here's my last links to my last videos. Here's the profile.
Yeah.
And it's all I have to do is type in, here's the title of the video.
Oh, yeah.
And then boom, prompt, and it gives me a script. And then I'm able to sit here and script.
So there are people that are willing to pay money for your collection of prompts that you built. So there's actually a whole secondary market being built out of.
That makes sense.
Let me give you a whole book of 900 prompts that you can use in marketing and sales.
I'm in a nerd section of the internet, so yeah, I get the retargeting ads. They're like, "You want mega prompts?" I'm like, yeah, exactly. We're getting you want your 900 plus prompts for this? I'm like, maybe. But back onto the Delaware side of things, where does it affect a micro market like Delaware? I don't think we really got to that.
Yeah. Well,
because I see I'll get to where my opinion is on it. My apologies. I see the benefit of the utility Delaware has in our tax situation, in the vacation setting, the military, and the healthcare.
Yeah.
Also industrial, which to a large extent has gone through its phase already. It's as human as it's going to get, and vice versa, I believe. Whereas AI is going to wreck a lot of other industries that have not had that adjustment period. Delaware has a stark advantage, I feel, because
absolutely,
we're right around all of these big cities that are already starting to bleed out people.
Oh, definitely,
in large numbers.
Yeah,
you look at a GCI map, or not GCI map. You look at a tax map, and you'll see Maryland, you'll see the DC area, you'll see Jersey, PA, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, all the way up the coast, New York. New York lost $80 billion in gross income from the people that live there in a year.
It's insane.
80 billion people left New York worth of their income into their economy, gone. And Delaware on the whole East Coast, it gets a little greenish when you get to like South Carolina, like the retirement states.
Yeah.
We're just this beacon of green right there in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many aspects to Delaware that when you talk about a remote working population, and you talk about access to, these cities and things like that. Well, first off, I mean, a lot of the major corporations are incorporating here in Delaware. They have offices here. So you've got a lot of really big companies that are operating out of here. So if you need to go and talk to C-level suite people, stuff like that, they're accessible in that way. And then all these other big companies have offices in the surrounding areas. Like you said, Philadelphia, Virginia, New York, all these areas have some of the biggest servers and data centers are here in Virginia. So, a lot of technology. This is like a good hub for a lot of that. And, now that people don't have to be at their job a lot of times, and with the kind of tools that we're using, it's a really good place to be for a lot of reasons related to technology right now.
It's just such a weird thing to think about, a world where there aren't enough jobs for the amount of people that are in our market. And that's a real thing that's already starting to happen.
Yeah. You bring that up, and it was funny. On the way in, I read that in 2023, the most businesses starting ever, entrepreneurs, it's the highest it's ever been, the highest rate of people starting businesses.
Absolutely.
So when you talk about going micro, you've got all these businesses that are massive. They're trying to figure out how to go micro. And then you have all these people that have all these tools, AI, software, all these things that they can leverage now. Oh yeah, and people are going out and going micro on their own.
Mark Zuckerberg could be in Millsboro right now. The next one, the next Elon Musk could be sitting in Wilmington, because of, if you could patch, there are world-altering products and services that live right now within OpenAI and things like ChatGPT and what we already have that could solve massive problems, that could curve so many logistical issues, curve so many millions off of P&L sheets by fixing systematic problems that have been had for years.
Yeah.
It just, this is a new perspective.
Absolutely.
I don't think just in 5 years we're looking at the same world, and that's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Not at the extent of, hey, we're not working, everyone go home. But even though we already had them try that once, I guess maybe that was their tester. But but we didn't do too well. We definitely failed that test, if that was the test of could we stay home without going crazy.
Yeah.
Because we were like, can we go back to school?
Yeah.
Can we go back to our cubicles, please? We didn't handle it well at all. So you're right. I don't see even a Delaware, as we sit as it is, we're known for, there's nothing to do, which I don't agree with.
Me neither.
I disagree with the statement. But that being said, can 1 million people that don't have any income obligations? I mean, we're talking dystopian Delaware. This is a weird conversation, but I don't know economically if that's possible.
Well, this is where I get back to the idea of the most people ever starting businesses. And when you talk about the unknowns and what the future holds, and what it might look like, I think when you don't know what it looks like, what it's going to look like, is when it's most exciting, because that means that there's just more endless possibilities. And when you talk about at the level now where we've been taking people en masse and working for companies where a large number of people are doing the same thing, and now you're seeing a mass exodus of people going out and starting their own thing. What could we come up with hundreds of thousands of people sitting around thinking? But
would they be thinking, or would they be scrolling and binging? And because I think there's two. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
there's going to be some trapped, just cramped up minds that are finally going to be freed to, holy cow, I don't have to worry about what my manager thinks, or getting to this on time to Sydney. I don't have to do all these things that are just driving me nuts. I can just live life. You're right. There will be some freed minds. I worry about the other side.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to be the more common side in that world is people just become lethargic.
I hear you on that.
They don't have any obligations.
I think that as human beings, though, that when we're pressed, I think that when you look at the thousands of years that somehow we've arrived where we are, that underlying spark is that we want to be something and do something and be creators and be manifestors.
Purpose.
Yeah. And I think,
purpose.
We do sit in a world now where, the tools that we use make you get real quick results, and you can see things and it turns life on a dime really quickly. And we are in a consumer-based world where a lot of people are consuming, and the opposite side of that is the creators. But I think at its core, I don't know if you've ever read the book by Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning.
No, but
it was a psychologist that was in a Nazi Holocaust camp. And he did a lot of reflection, survived, obviously, wrote this book. And he said the two things that provide meaning to life are growth and contact with other people. And so I think we already got...
We're social creatures.
So we got a taste of the one, right? It's like, when everybody got holed up, it was like everybody craved human contact.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And then when you're left to your own devices and you have nothing left for yourself, the other piece to it is growth. I think we're hardwired to grow.
I firmly believe
and
that.
So I really don't have a fear that, people going out and not having jobs mean that we won't, that we'll have a bunch. Of course there will be. There will always be one end of the bell curve to fulfill the other. That's how life works.
Yeah.
To create the balance. But I sit more on the side of optimism, in that when people are left to their own devices, that they want to build and create. And I think that, they can get distracted, but I think that when you really sit in a dark pit, the only way out of it is to be something, to do something, to create.
You gonna break our decor?
They look like peas, but they're black.
Yeah, they're like they're not even heavy. Yeah.
No. I don't want to break them.
I think they're made of plastic. I don't think, maybe they're glass. Is this like the same stuff they make like Christmas balls out of?
I think they're glass.
Maybe they're glass.
Yeah.
We're fancy here. These are glass.
Yeah.
What's the one thing about Delaware people don't know about that they should?
Oh man. You caught me off guard with this one. Jeez.
Shift gears.
Yeah. Delaware. You know what? The relationships. I think that because of the size of the state, it's almost like Cheers. Like, you go to the bar and everybody knows your name type thing.
Kind of, yeah, at a macro scale.
But on a positive level, like if you're ever in need of like resources or making connections or trying to make something move or work, it doesn't take long to look around the room and ask a few people and find somebody that knows somebody.
Somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have heard that the whole, 7 layers of connection thing is like 3 or 2 in Delaware.
Right.
It just seems like everyone's one or 2 connections around.
Yeah.
Physically, though?
Yeah. I don't know. I go back to Brandywine Creek State Park. It's such a beautiful place, man. I know it's safe going there and saying that, but it really is. It's a really nice place. And for a variety of reasons for me, when I grew up, I trout fished there with my dad. And that was like a really special memory for me with my dad. And so I like going there and doing the trout fishing there, and I take my son there, and we do that. Nice. And then when I was in college, they have really great disc golf course there. And actually, you know what? There we go. That's a little hidden gem of Delaware. There's a lot of great disc golf courses.
Okay.
And so if you're looking for, I don't know, I guess it's not a gentleman's game of golf per se.
I want to play disc golf.
But disc golf is got a technique to it. Get the bag with
all the rubber. Yeah, absolutely. Do it legit, for sure.
Yeah, there's drivers, there's putters. Yeah, you got your mid-range, things like that.
I hear you.
So
I've been a couple times. I played with like a little 5 Frisbee set.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good. And then a Frisbee was the reason I broke my leg. So I'm going to ease back into it.
Okay. Yeah. Be careful.
Yeah, it was more the dog than the Frisbee, though.
Got you.
But either way, Frisbee golf, where's the best one in Delaware? Is it Brandywine?
I personally like Brandywine because it has the hills. So there's 2 holes. They have called Beauty and the Beast.
Cute.
And Beauty is you're overlooking this big hill that goes down, and so you throw your disc out, and it just like coasts. You just got to watch it go.
Beautiful.
And kind of curve down. And then there's another one where you're coming up the hill, and you're literally throwing your disc up a hill and going and picking it up again, and then throwing it up the hill again, and it's beastie. So. Yeah, I would say that's probably the best course. I like White Clay Creek's got a good one too.
Okay.
There's one in Killen's Pond.
That's the only one I've played. Killen's Pond.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially being what it is. Yeah, Killen's Pond is super dope.
Yeah.
And my buddy just golfed at White Clay, and he was extremely taken back because I have not played there yet, and I want to now. How many hills there are. I mean, it is a lot of elevation back there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, on the golf side, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, on the golf side. Is the Frisbee golf course not nearly as...
No, it's more woodsy. Yeah, yeah. So you're just right out in the woods.
You good? Yeah. We need to get you a chair.
You're like pacing over there.
Yeah. You can just come sit down in the chair.
You could be like Conan's, what is his name, Andy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll just get you a camera. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Get you a camera and a mic, for sure.
Yeah.
I really do want to just get back on the other conversation that we were kind of leaning on. What else are you doing in forms of pushing physical and mental barriers for yourself in Delaware right now? Like where and what are you doing? Like we cold plunge.
Yeah, love cold plunging.
Been cleared to get back into that here within like next 2 weeks. So
good.
I'm excited to get back into that. So you're a cold plunger as well?
I am.
Why do you do it?
For a variety of reasons. Obviously, health is a big piece of it. I don't know if you ever looked up or heard any of these stats. I don't know how true they are, but they talk about like the dopamine release from cocaine and sex and chocolate.
Okay.
And apparently...
See, I've heard that before. The first 2 and the third never connect for me. Like, yeah, I hear the first 2, I'm like, okay, chocolate. Like, right. I'm like, it's all right, it's good. I'm like, a good taco, maybe I put up in that top 3. Like,
yeah.
But keep going. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. It's so like they say the dopamine that you get, the release of dopamine from like cocaine or sex will last you like a minute or 2 minutes tops. And the level of release that it's at, when you compare that to taking an ice plunge, apparently the dopamine release itself is 10x, I believe, or maybe even higher.
It's 3 to 4 hours.
And it lasts for 3 to 4 hours.
It's 3 to 4 hours. I know that much. And I've felt that.
Yeah.
There's a significant difference in a day that starts with that cold.
Yeah.
And especially, I'm extremely high level ADHD. Tip of the scale for it with my doctor.
Same.
So that
brings you right down.
Yeah. So that dopamine release is so palpable. It's such a deep feeling because you basically exist in a world that's partially barren from dopamine and has other chemical imbalances and things like that. So I 100%. Now the strength of it, I don't feel like I'm doing cocaine. It's a rush. But I love that side of it. I would love if we had like a cold plunge gym.
Yeah.
It should be at a gym. You should be able to cold plunge after your workout. That should be a thing.
I agree 100%.
That 100% should be a thing. Let's bring it to the club fitness side. They always do the fun stuff. But what else? What else are you doing pushing yourself physically, mentally?
So for me, this gets back to like the backpacking and stuff. And really to put a name to all of this, it's alchemy. You know, at the end of the day, you're taking
Have you read the book?
Oh, yeah. The Alchemist?
The Alchemist, yeah.
Yeah. Paulo Coelho. To me, The Alchemist is like The Simpsons. It's like, you know, when you're like 8, you watch it, The Simpsons, and you laugh and you get something out of it. And then you get a little bit older and you understand the more adult jokes, right?
Yeah.
And it's like The Alchemist is the same way, you know. I think it's a book worth revisiting every few years and kind of taking inventory on yourself. And
I just suggested that book yesterday, and I said... I have not read it again.
Yeah.
But what I told her, I said, you're going to pick up things I probably missed. It's like you pick up what you need to pick up throughout. I don't know. It's a great book.
Yeah, it's huge.
But keep going. Alchemy.
So yeah, alchemy, to me, the idea of alchemy is taking the spectrum of things in life and learning how to create a divine balance in the middle, right? Like when you talk about a cup of water and people talk about the optimist and the pessimist, and do you look at the glass half full or half empty? Well, I've been thinking about that a lot, that whole half empty, half full. And to me, it's about creating purpose for the vessel, for the glass. And the glass has fullness and emptiness in it that create a purpose for the glass. And so in your pain and in your joy, it's the emptiness and the fullness that create the vessel for you as a person to experience both and create meaning, right? It's not about having full water or having an empty glass.
Okay. The yin and the yang.
Yeah, which they're seeing now in quantum entanglement, right?
Yes.
You know, and you see this across all of life as this alchemy versus like the idea of observing versus non-observing, and like the slit experiment. Is it a particle? Is it a wave? And the paradox of both.
Yep.
And so whether
when
it be
we observe it, and we don't have to get into all that.
Yeah, but you know, like if you're gonna, you know, a cold plunge is gonna make you feel good. An anti-vacation is gonna make life feel good. So for me right now, in terms of physically pushing myself, I love doing calisthenics. I've been really big into dips and pull-ups and push-ups and using my own body weight to press myself and stress myself so that I'm de-stressed later and enjoying life and, you know, have the focus that I'm looking for.
I love that. Well, I don't have anything else. This is a great conversation. What do you feel someone listening to this and taking all this in, a little bit about Delaware, but a lot of just about the brain. What should they take advantage of here in Delaware to maybe find some of that clarity? What should be the first step if someone wants to start that journey?
What do you mean?
I don't even know what I mean.
Okay.
But I want someone that's listening to this hearing and maybe going a little over the head, but wanting to dive deeper into it, because I mean, I don't talk a ton about it. But I'm absolutely very spiritual. You know this. We've talked meditation and law of attraction and been in several classes together.
Well, that's actually one of the things I'm most excited about, Zach. You know, I mean, for the last 15 years, I've been involved in the technology industry, and I do love facilitating people and their message and helping them get out there and learning how to like wrap their mind around all this software and all these things that they can use. But what I'm really finding that I've been convicted through the years of helping people promote their message is how important the message is, the self that we're helping facilitate or put out there for them. And to me, one of the things that really struck me about 4 years ago was this idea of becoming the best version of yourself and offering it up to other people. And I don't know that necessarily that technology is the last stop for me. I think that for me, the thing that I'm you know, here on earth to do is to communicate to other people, to learn more about yourself, to study yourself. And if there's anything I would want to share with people, it's that in 2024, I'm launching Invictus Alpha Rex, which is basically Latin for unconquerable alpha kings. And the idea behind it is to hearken back to these times, the classics, Plato, Aristotle. These guys had uncovered hidden truths philosophically on how to live your life. And it's really simple. And it's the idea of taking
Stoics.
alchemy, right? And saying, do you come from scarcity or do you come from abundance? Do you come from a place where you're lacking or a place where you have more than enough to give? And so for me, I'm tuning into 2024 in helping people mastermind and perfect a recipe of abundance for them so that every day they can wake up and they can run through basically like a boot drive or a boot disk. Like, have you ever, you get on your computer and it's got a virus and your computer doesn't act like it should, it doesn't behave like it should. Well, there's a lot of people that go out in life and they get a virus from the night before. They stayed out too late, or they hung out with the wrong crowd, or they did something and they need a boot disk. And so what I would like to do is be able to facilitate specifically people that have a lot going on, business owners, men that are looking for a place to identify and create accountability and to create a system or a protocol that they can follow so that they can boot back up and manifest who they want to be.
You already know I'm a part of that. But
yeah.
Anyone listening that wants to be a part of that, how could they apply? Because I know you're just not taking on anybody with that.
Yeah, so right now what we're doing is, I'm on Instagram. You can find me at Joel Margavage. Same thing, Facebook, LinkedIn. And we have a channel that we're going to be launching called Invictus Alpha Rex. There's going to be some good content on there, and there will be...
People should follow you there.
Follow me at Joel Margavage.
Joel
Margavage.
A lot of A's in there.
Yeah.
When are you thinking of dropping?
January 2024 will be the official. The Instagram account is live. There isn't really a lot of content going out right now yet. We're getting ready to start barnstorming all that. So yeah,
we'll probably get you a promo out of this. Maybe you can tell us on there.
Awesome, thanks.
No problem. So what's the main, is that monthly, weekly? What's the main purpose behind it? I mean, you dove right into that.
There's going to be tiers to it. So essentially it's going to go from, an online driven course where it's, do it yourself, DIY, all the way through to, weekly classes, on Zoom with daily accountability calls. And then we're going to have a few retreats that we're going to be running on a quarterly basis where we'll actually be getting together. And it's going to fall into that whole spectrum too. There's going to be some time in the woods and probably some time in like a resort area to reflect on it. So
the anti-vacation.
Yeah. Get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to leave us with, man?
No, I think that's it. Yeah.
Appreciate you having me in.
Yeah.
My guy. Yeah. Also, green's your color. Looks really good on you.
Thanks, man. Yeah.